Good afternoon. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms chats. And we've been going live to help parents get information they need to navigate distance learning and keep their kids learning at home during the pandemic, or find out how to get their kids back on campus safely. And today we have this is, I guess, part two of talking about Great Hearts Online. So back in September, Kurtis Indorf, who's the executive director of Great Hearts Online, he came on and talked about this sort of new full-time online classical education school that's going to be available to students across Texas starting in January. And back then they were kicking off the enrollment process, but there were a lot of things that hadn't really been filled in yet about the Great Hearts Online model. And so today we're super lucky that Kurtis is back, but he's brought with him Heidi Vasiloff, who is the headmaster of Great Hearts Online. And so Heidi is an experienced school leader in the Great Hearts Network, and she's been the headmaster at Trivium Prep for 5 years now?
Yeah.
And yeah, and experienced teacher in let's see, you have a degree in wildlife biology, which I think is fascinating. So and yeah, I know Kurtis has been with Great Hearts Texas for a while, but I'm just really happy to see him in a leadership role in at Great Hearts Online. So so that is the team that we're talking to today. So Kurtis is the executive director of Great Hearts Online. Heidi is the headmaster of Great Hearts Online, and I have a whole bunch of questions for you guys. But welcome, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Inga.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Okay, so my first question is for Heidi, and I wanted to ask. So I mentioned, so you've been a headmaster at a bricks and mortar Great Hearts school in Arizona. So Trivium Prep. I've talked on the blog and on the show before about the Great Hearts model, about classical education and the commitment to great books and seminars and sports and like having well-rounded students. And so tell me about how that's going to translate, how the Great Hearts mission and purpose is going to translate to Great Hearts Online.
Actually, thank you so much, Inga. I'm excited to be here as well. I'm so excited about this model because I've long thought that we should be able to offer this to anyone who wants to come, anybody who wants to come and be part of this great experience and be engaged in these wonderful, strong discussions, think about big ideas. And we've always been limited by our brick and mortar schools, not only just limited in the location, like how far are you really willing to drive, but also just in the seats. Right? We haven't had, many of our schools have very long wait lists. And so even leading tours as a headmaster, you felt guilt-ridden because you're like, yes, it's a really good school, but where are you on the wait list? And so it's been a real joy to think that this could be available to so many more students. And the real question is, how do we make what really works in this brick and mortar school work on an online environment? And I've been so fortunate to watch my kids go to college and really learn that they are fully engaged with their friends and their teachers. And you see it in action at all these different levels where they have a relationship that's really been formed. And then as I watch my students do it back at Trivium, we realize that the relationships are about being in conversation, whether we're in conversation over how many miles using this technology or whether we're in person. And so one of the things that we're very committed to is not just opening an online school, but opening a Great Hearts Online school. And so community is really key. Another thing that's really important to us is those relationships that we talked about. They're going to be reading great books and they're going to be talking about big ideas. And in many ways, that's even more exciting to think about the dinner table because a parent, even just by being peripherally in the room, will hear something going on and it'll give you better clues as to what's happening in the classroom. So many times you would go in and observe a classroom and you think, oh, I wish the parents could be a fly on the wall to hear this thing that they're talking about or this big idea. And by doing this in a homeschool or in a homeschooling setting, it really opens that door up. I think we're going to have to be really creative about creating little community groups too, wherever the schools, if we get a group of 5 or more families, let's get you together and let's have you connect and build those relationships in person, as well as doing it online. So the sky's the limit. It's very exciting. It's also exciting to think that you could have your best friend live on the complete other side of Texas. Who knows, right? Next vacation trip, you go down and you get to see your buddy on the beach. Who knows? But I think that there's so much opportunity, and we're really focused on bringing this thing that we love so much, this rich cream, to everybody who wants to come and engage. So.
Yeah. I mean, Texas is a huge place, and it feels overwhelming sometimes just even to reach different parts of San Antonio. And I realize like that is such a small part of the state, and there are so many small towns and rural areas that just are not realistically going to be able to support a Great Hearts Charter School at any point, right? It's
Right.
The distances are so vast, and yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I mean, my own kids are Great Hearts students, and they've been doing distance learning since March, and I've been really pleased by how much of the school experience translates to what they're doing at home in terms of like the books they read, the classroom discussions, the projects that they do. I just ordered a bunch of science supplies for my daughter to do an experiment with. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, so my next question is for Kurtis, and I wanted to ask him about the team at Great Hearts Online, because I know that it's quite a job to stand up a school this quickly. Right? It was kind of on short notice that T said, "Oh yeah, by the way, you can do this now," and you're like, "Oh, we can. Let's do it." but then you have to build the team and have it come into reality. So I was wondering if you could tell me more about that.
Absolutely. Well, I think Heidi's smile there says it all, which is like, it's a great team and there's a lot that's happening very, very quickly. I feel incredibly fortunate and honored that we have these people who have said, let's go on this journey together, not just to make an online school. None of us are interested in building an online only school. We are interested in building a Great Hearts online school. And that is, I think, fundamentally different, right? Because the relationships, the community aspect, the balance between, using technology for what it's good for, and then using concrete things as well, getting out into nature, is different than what's out there, and that's important for us to get right. And so that means that we have to have a team that can figure that out. So Heidi Vasiloff, as all of you got to know, Heidi has been a headmaster at Great Hearts Trivium Prep, the largest school in the Great Hearts networks, for over 5 years, and she's a rock star. And Heidi's she's currently hiring a bunch of teachers and leading our teams, and we're thinking about curriculum. And so that's really hire number one. Starting on October 5th, Jay Bachhuber joined our team. Jay is our director of learning design. He comes to us from Denver healthcare systems. He was training doctors across the state of Colorado. He's done educational research. He's done instructional design. He's done some video game design and thinking about what motivates students to learn in different ways. And Jay's like asking big questions about like, how do we create authentic experiences, and ordering technologies of like, well, what if we projected the screen onto a wall in classrooms, or projected in your home instead of on a screen, you watch it on a wall? How might that change how we engage? We're thinking about purchasing technology. We just went through some final things we're going to order this morning about how do we get cameras and cords so that teachers can watch and see how students are making letters on paper with pencil, so that teachers can watch kids doing math in real time to give them academic feedback as they learn and grow, right? Multiple forms of using technology to actually help us learn and grow better and different in an online setting. Eric Huebner started on October 15th. Eric comes from a family of educators. His wife is a principal and a teacher. Eric homeschooled his kids as well. He has a lot of expertise and background in technology, from development, from coding, from running the IT systems in his town here in Texas, to a whole bunch of things that I don't know all that much about. But he's the most humane and technologically skilled person who I've met. And so we're just really grateful for Eric being on the team. And then Raquel Zapata is not new to Great Hearts. She was a founding family at Great Hearts Monte Vista South. Here are the founding Great Hearts School in Texas. She was the PSO president at Great Hearts Monte Vista. She's now a Great Hearts Western Hills parent. And Raquel comes with, I mean, she said the other day, like, I know enough of everything to be dangerous, which is so incredibly true. She's done like adult training, coming up with online trainings for Department of Defense and FEMA, director of operations and project management across large corporations and companies. So Raquel, and she deeply understands what we're all about. Juanita Flores was really the last member of our leadership team. Juanita was the founding registrar at Great Hearts Western Hills. She is a rock star. And when I went out to the campus last Thursday, I got a lot of glares from family members who were very upset with me that we hired Juanita to our team. Juanita is such a critical member of the team as we build relationships with families. She's the first one in many cases building the one-on-one relationship with families and helping and shepherding families through the application and enrollment process. So this is the team, and it also helps to illustrate a little bit about how Great Hearts Online is different from Great Hearts Distance Learning. We're hiring seasoned experts committed to building 100% online school and making it excellent. And we're hiring full-time faculty and staff to teach students in this way as well.
Yeah, no, this is an incredible team. I've been getting the email updates about the progress that y'all are making, and it's my head is spinning because it's happening so quickly. But I also, every time I get really excited about the qualified people that you're bringing on. So like, I remember over the summer I got to interact with Heidi on a committee, and then I found out that she was the headmaster. I was like, oh, that's perfect. And Raquel is a personal friend of mine. We worked together. I was the treasurer when she was PSO president, and I can't sing her praises enough. And she just I've never heard her say that's not my job or I don't know. So the answer is always, okay, I'll find out. I'll get that done. And then I'm excited to meet Juanita at some point, because you're right. Like there's that, especially for something new, families have so much uncertainty and they need that kind of that human touch, somebody who can, listen and help resolve some of their fears and concerns about trying something that's new and different. So
yeah, right.
Okay.
I regularly feel humbled and honored to work with everybody, and I know there's lots of love. It's been a blast. It's hard work, but if we weren't excited about hard work, no one would say yes to this. And we're also very, very excited about building an excellent Great Hearts Online Academy and making it uniquely Great Hearts in nature and design and experience.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna hide this slide, and then I'm gonna ask Heidi a question. I wanted to ask more about. Okay, so like the bottom line on that slide had to do with teachers, about like how you're hiring the teachers for Great Hearts Online, because that's in my experience. Like at different times, my kids have had teachers who were brand new to Great Hearts, but because the headmasters knew what to look for in a Great Hearts teacher, and because the school comes with a lot of curriculum that's already baked in, right? That my kids have had a successful experience even with teachers who were new to the network. But there's an added layer here, right? Which is you're trying to find people who can effectively communicate digitally,
Yes.
and yeah. So just tell me more about and you're in the thick of it right now with the hiring process.
No, it's been such a delight. Our first thought was, why don't we find Great Hearts teachers that left us because of whatever reason, right? They may have moved out of state to be with family, or their husband or wife might have been transferred to some other place. And so what we did, first thing we did is we sent out letters to all of our headmasters and said, hey, who are those teachers that you're just sick that you lost, that you just can't, that you're so sad that they left your school for whatever the reason was. Share their names with us, and we'll see if we can rope them back in. And it's been just delightful to reconnect with so many of them. And we're in a kind of a weird time of year too, because we're hiring midstream. So if they're teaching someplace else, we don't want to have them not finish what they started. So it's this weird timing, but it's been so great to connect with so many people that are like, we love Great Hearts. We love Great Hearts. We want to be part of this. And so that's been our first cadre of people. We've also been talking, we posted the job on Great Hearts online. You can see the job announcement. We've been talking to a lot of new teachers, not that are new maybe to Great Hearts, but not new to teaching or vice versa. And it's been an incredible experience. Like every one of them, I think, oh my goodness. And my criteria is pretty simple. Would I want my child to have that person as a teacher? And I think if we can say that, if we can say, you know, gosh, this is somebody who I really want to have in their life, that if I'm hiring those people, then I think we're successful. But of course, I have real criteria too. I'm looking for them to have heart, right? I want to know that they are passionately committed to changing the lives of children for the good. I want to make sure that they have deep knowledge in their curriculum, and that they can convey that and teach that in a way that's both meaningful and that the students can acquire. And I want to see that they can actually use technology, which I'm not sure Kurtis did a good job of. No, yeah, with me. No, I'm just kidding. That's why we have people who know this now. But I want to make sure that they're really comfortable interfacing in technology, because it is important to us that this is high quality and that it's that we're communicating the way that we can. So there's a whole bunch of other things that we look for. We look for people that are seeking truth, goodness, and beauty in their lives, and that can model that for them. We want people that are going to come to us and say, our goal at the end of this process is to have excellent human beings that leave here, the whole child. So you might be great at math, but if you can't connect to that human side, and if you can't make it more than just a problem, then we have failed in finding that. So it's a whole bunch of things that we do in there, but it's such an exciting time when you're talking to people and engaging in that conversation and saying, come be part of this sort of crazy, intense thing that we're doing. But it's been great. So yeah. So, and my list looks really good so far. Super excited for everybody. Yay.
So Heidi, you sent me a set of slides. Do you want me to bring those onto the screen and you can kind of talk through some of those? And then I have some questions for Kurtis that are about like nuts and bolts stuff about.
Sure. Absolutely. The slides are the schedule that we put together. So let's take a look.
Oh, you want to
good. Okay. Skip to the next one.
Okay.
Always got to have a header slide, right?
There we go. Whoops. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
I may have not done it right.
The click. There we go. Okay. My two screens.
Did we announce already? Okay. Kurtis, you want to do the honors?
Yeah. So I think Inga, is it okay if I share a little bit more about how we got here?
Yes. Go right ahead, Kurtis.
So if y'all haven't heard yet, we initially opened. We didn't know. Inga, the first time we talked, we're like, we're not sure what grade levels we're serving. We know we're doing this thing. We're not sure when we're starting, but a lot has been decided since then. Initially, we decided we're going to open up in 2nd grade through 6th grade. We got a lot of feedback, families saying, I really want kindergarten in 1st grade, or like, my kids are in 2nd grade and 5th grade, and I also have a kindergartner. I want them all going to the same school. And so there was just overwhelming demand and request for K1. And so we decided, I think this was last week, to expand, and we're now serving kindergarten through 6th grade. All families across Texas are welcome to come and join us, kindergarten through 6th grade in a public charter online school. We're going to open up our doors. We're going virtual doors on Monday, January 4th, and there's a lot happening to get ready for that day. A lot of this has to do with parent feedback. Right, so parents saying, I want kindergarten in 1st grade as well, and parents saying, hey, let me get the holiday break, the winter break to reset, to close out the first half of the year and to reopen the second half of the year. And one thing that we're committed to doing really well is making sure that as families go into that winter holiday break, they are entering into it with anticipation, with excitement, with a sense of who their teacher is, with a sense of what their students' schedule and week is going to look like. I want families to be excited about, Mom, Dad, on Monday, it's going to look like this, and I'm going to talk with Headmaster Vasiloff, and I have Spalding at 9, and then I have Singapore at 10. And so we really want that. We really want families to be in a place where they're excited over the holiday break to get ready to start Great Hearts Online on January 4th.
It's exciting. You're exactly right, Curtis. Like, I mean, I remember I keep going back in and editing. Oh, I should mention that in the description of the video, there's a link to the blog post on the San Antonio Charter Moms blog. That's sort of our guide to what we know about Great Arts Online. And it started out with describing the model and and then having links of like how families can sign up and take a survey, right? And so yeah, I've watched it evolve, and it really feels like the pieces are coming together. And this date makes sense. This range of grades makes sense. And now it's kind of like when you're starting a school and you don't know what the address is, but it's like now you guys know you have some of these key pieces ironed out. So
yeah.
Okay, should I go to the next slide?
Sure.
Okay. Oops, I gotta click there. There we go. Okay. Oh, so this is schedule. Okay, go Heidi.
Yeah, this is the schedule. We're really delighted to share this. We spent a lot of time thinking about what was important in a schedule. And one thing we wanted to do is have the synchronous times blocked together instead of scattering them throughout the day. And really, we feel like the rhythm of learning, right? You're going to have this sort of rhythm in there. So what we did is we said, okay, so we have two criteria that you're going to see very evidently in this third grade one. First of all, you're going to see blocks that are together. And the second thing you're going to see is class sizes of 15. And so what we did is we took a normal 30-person class. What the schedule is you're looking at here is a teacher's schedule. So in this case, we would have a teacher in the yellow parts who's the third grade teacher, and she or he will take from 8 to 10 with half the class, and they're going to do homeroom. Every student is going to have a homeroom teacher that kind of just talks about the day, orients it, does the opening things that we need to do, the pledge, and all the other things that go into that. And then we're going to go, and let me just be clear. We have literature group, Spalding, science or history, depending on either which week or what day it is, and then math. Now, all of those could be in a different order, but they have this nice block of time where the teacher can work on it. So let's say that you came up with just a fantastic question and answer. You're going through some Socratic discussion and you want to extend a little bit. Well, you can do that because you're not bumped up to another class right after that. Also, you'll notice that there's these weird little 5-minute breaks put in there, like 8:45 to 8:50. That's because the teacher can put in breaks in there, and that time includes, maybe they just do one large one because their class really works that way. Maybe they have them every so often, but that gives them the freedom to move through that schedule and that. So if you're in section 3A, you would go to class with your teacher from 8 to 10, then you'd have a break. And then we have PE. PE is going to be all asynchronous. So whether you do it first thing before school or after school, it's up to you. Then we'll have art and music, which will be a rotating piece, and Spanish, which will be 1 day a week in person or 2 days a week in person, maybe in third grade. And then the others are on video. So again, those orange blocks are sometimes synchronous and sometimes asynchronous. And then we have a break and lunch. And then in the afternoon is where all the videos are. If there's an assignment you're doing on the computer, that's where that's happening. If you have a practice, like you've got to show a video, or if you're working on a project, all of that independent work happens in the afternoon. And again, our goal is so that they're not on the computer straight up for 6 hours a day. And it works with your family. So let's say that you as a family are involved in, I don't know, pick a sport or pick an activity, a drama club, and your drama club starts at 1. This gives you the freedom to do drama club, come back and finish your work, or do work in the morning beforehand. So we're really excited about this schedule. We also are looking at flipped classrooms. So you can imagine that in the math class at 9:45 or 9:40, when you're getting together with your teacher, the night before, you would have watched maybe a video and done some practice problems. So that when you walk into class, the teacher's like, okay, what do we struggle with, or what was easy, or what are the things we need to go into greater detail? So we're really trying to use that time with the teacher as intentional instruction. Oh, and I didn't mention the other big thing that happens in the afternoon is tutoring. So if math is not going quite the way you'd hoped, there'll be a teacher will have a tutoring block of time as well. Some of it will be like, nope, you need to come to tutoring. And others will be like, oh, if you want to come to tutoring, just depending on where you are. So that's really our third grade that's our thought. That's what we're working on. And Curtis, did I miss anything on that?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. The other thing you'll see in here is, we really tried, Heidi and Jay worked really hard to figure out how do we set up a schedule to get small class sizes. So 15 sections in a class allows you to start to build some some community for kids to have more space to engage and talk more, to not have multiple screens on a Zoom screen where you're flipping around to see who's on there. And so that was really important for us to figure out how do we do that, to provide that flexibility that Heidi just mentioned for families. And then there's a real element of learning science in here. So for a student to watch some direct instruction the afternoon before via recorded video, engage and do some work and turn an assignment. For that teacher the next morning to review the 15 assignments from their class and say, this is what the students are missing. And then to spend the 20 minutes focusing on those 2 things instead of the 15 things that were taught, that is about more kids learning more. That is about engaging in what rigor is, which is grappling through the good work that's hard to do. And so we're excited to bring that element also of just effective pedagogy and learning science to the online setting.
Yeah, and I will add, one of our big discussions is if you're doing a science lab that week, you can introduce it on the first day. And then the rest of the week is really developing that project or that science or that whatever they're working on, so that on Friday or on the following Monday, it's a share out. So we want to build in the ability to do that, right? We want them to build in the ability and time to do those good things.
So I have a question. So the art and music and Spanish, so sometimes those are synchronous, sometimes they're asynchronous, but they're being taught by a different team member, right? That way, like this teacher doesn't have to, they're not doing art music at the same time.
No.
Right.
And
Okay.
in fact,
Got it.
if you see the 2 yellow blocks there, that's the same teacher. So if I was teaching
Right.
3rd grade, I would have a morning, I'd have from 8 to 10, then I'd have a break, and then I'd do the same class again for that next little block. But then in the afternoon, I'm developing my asynchronous videos, doing tutoring, grading papers, working on curriculum. So that frees them up to do that. But then we're going to have an art teacher teaching art, a music teacher teaching music, and then a Spanish teacher teaching Spanish.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. And that's very easy for me to understand as a Great Hearts parent, right? Because I know, like for my kids, like how important the specials classes are to them. I know, like for my daughter, it's like one of her favorite things about distance learning is that she's still able to access the art lessons and the music lessons, and she saves them for last every day because that's her favorite.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Is there let's see. I don't know. I'm taking the comments. No questions. Should I go to the next slide? Is there?
Sure.
Is that
the next one is 5th grade, and we just wanted to give sort of a different view of it. 5th grade's different because in this case, you're going to have a teacher that's an ELA teacher, or 5th or 6th, right? That's going to be the English teacher, and they're going to teach multiple sections of English, and you'll have a math teacher that'll teach multiple sections of math, and a science and history teacher, and then the specials in there. So what you're seeing in here is that in this case, there'll be more students. There'll be 22. They'll be in an English block, right, for that first hour, and then a break, and then a math, different teacher, then a different teacher for the history, and a different teacher for the music Latin block down there. Now, it could be that you're in the next section over, and it goes homeroom, math, history, art. So those 4 things are going to be interchangeable in that day as it goes along. And really, but you'd have the same schedule every day for a student, so you wouldn't be rotating like, oh, first it's English, now it's math. But this way we can allow for our specialties to come in, right? So we're going to bring a math teacher in to really teach 5th and 6th grade math, an English teacher to teach 5th and 6th grade English. And so we start to get a little bit more specialized as we move into that upper middle school piece in there. So we wanted to present both schedules because you're thinking, well, why not do that beautiful block that you showed before? Well, that's 4 teachers, right? So we couldn't do that in the same way that you can in K through 4. So this is just a different look. Again, our goal is to have that afternoon free up for them to just work on the independent work that they need to do on that, on just the practice and on the experiments and things that they can do without being plugged in the full time to the computer. Read a book, one of these fantastic books you have time to read your literature and annotate as you're going through. So it's a little bit different, but sort of similar philosophy. And again, getting down to 22. So, and Kurtis wasn't joking. I had the privilege of teaching 6th grade art at the beginning of this year as we were getting ready and getting our teachers on board. And having to flip between the screens and find all your students was mind-numbingly hard because you would lose one and you try to figure out where they were. So we felt like we needed to be limited at least by that screen. And also we want that engagement and that conversation to happen in those classes. So.
Yeah, this makes sense to me. I've seen it for myself. Like, so my daughter is in 5th grade right now, and having teachers who love what they do and specialize. So actually, my daughter's math teacher is our neighbor. She lives 2 blocks down the street. So I knew her back when she would do like tutoring at the local private schools, but like she loves math, and to get to like focus on math is fantastic. And same thing, like my daughter's literature teacher is like. She lives and breathes like Narnia, like all the time. So it's fantastic. And developmentally, I think I can see like my daughter is learning kind of executive function skills, because she's knowing like, okay, I have to log back in at a certain time. And we've talked about as a family, like, so my husband and I both work in technology fields. He's a cybersecurity researcher, and I communicate online all the time, and that we see our kids developing, skills that they will use as knowledge workers in the future, and the different tools they're using, and their typing skills are better. How they use their computers, and but I think what's important to me about them getting a Great Hearts education is that it's the technology skills by themselves won't get you there. Like, you have to be a problem solver, and you have to have curiosity, and you have to have a knowledge, right? Like about works of literature, and about our history, and like where we've come from and how the world works. And so if you can bring those things together, if you can bring the knowledge about how to use technology, and how to work remotely, that may be the future of work in a lot of industries.
Yes.
And so they'll have that, but they'll also have this like rich base of knowledge, and also what it means to be a good person, to be a caring team member, and things like that. So that's my testimonial about this. So let's see. Do y'all have more stuff to say about the 5th grade schedule, or do y'all want me to tab over to the next?
I think that's the last slide.
Okay, cool.
As we pull that down, a few other things, like, so Friday is usually an early release day for us. And so we're thinking about, there's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday schedule, and then there's a Friday early release schedule. And, so that will look a little bit different, but one important part of the Friday schedule is going to be continued community building, continued building relationships, building trust in small groups of kids, even smaller than what class sizes are.
Yeah.
Heidi talked in the beginning about how do you translate Great Hearts in person to Great Hearts online, and we know that the curriculum matters. We know that the mission matters, that engagement and strong pedagogy matter, and we know that relationships and culture and community matter. And so, of all the things, there's like good teaching and learning and education. But the thing that we are thinking about, I think in many ways, the most is trust, community, relationship, connections, and getting that right. And that will be an important part of Fridays as well.
It can be done online, but you have to be very thoughtful and very deliberate about it, because it doesn't. That's what I've. In some ways, because my team, we've been so purposeful about connecting with schools and with like stakeholders in our SA Charter Moms community, that in some ways we actually feel better connected in some ways than we did before. Although I do miss my co-working space. I miss the conversations I'd have while I'm waiting for my tea to brew. So I miss those things. But but being purposeful, being purposeful means that you can build community, and you can transmit values that way, and you can build relationships, and you can show people and treat people in a caring way, and it really matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm looking at my cheat sheet here of all the topics I wanted to cover, because it's so okay. So we talked about that. It is officially grades K through 6, which is really exciting, because that's a wider range of grades, and you guys are listening to parent feedback, and trying to get the whole family on board, and that lays a good foundation for the school to grow in the future, right? If you're bringing the kindergartners in, and then so we talked about the schedules, like the sample schedules for 3rd grade and 5th grade, and why it has certain blocks, and how but it doesn't, the online time doesn't take up the full day. So it gives, they're not on the screen all the time, and they have time to, pursue other activities, or, spend time doing their science projects or reading, or, things like that. So that's exciting, giving families that kind of flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Choice and flexibility, and the balance of online with like concrete things, is again, I'm sure that exists for other places, but it's very true at Great Hearts for us to get that right.
And we believe people should go outside. We believe that students should be outside. That sounds great. It sounds like a small thing to say, but it's really important, right? That children are getting outside, that they're exploring, that they're doing interesting things. And take your book and go sit under a tree, even if that's the case. And I think when I think about online learning, that to me is one of the most exciting things, is that they could be sitting at their picnic table in the backyard and doing their math facts. They could be going over to grandma and papa's house and hanging out with them and sharing something that they've learned. And there's so much more time to do that in that space. And the freedom to use your time in a way that fits your family is really beautiful.
Yeah. And that's something that's important beyond just the framework of the pandemic, or, right. We have all these disruptions, and it feels like that it's accelerating changes that were already underway in our society. But it's given me a new appreciation of online school. And I've taught, Kurtis and I have a mutual friend, Shay, who's a virtual school advocate based in Austin. And it's really opened my eyes to the value of this. And I hope that more families access it, and that it becomes a larger piece of the education picture in the future.
And we have teachers. I just want to close with saying I have teachers that are so excited about this too, and I delight that they're so excited to try this and to do this in this different way. So I'm excited to see what we come up with. I love our team. I think we've got some really creative team members that are going to push us. That we don't just take the classroom and sort of force it into this mold of what is online school, but instead they say, why do you do it this way? And you're like, oh, why do we do it this way? I don't know, because I'm used to having a classroom, right? So.
Right. Keep inventing. Okay, so I want to make sure, before we close out, I want to make sure I talk to Kurtis about sort of nuts and bolts stuff about, I always try to give like the call to action, like, okay, parents, like if you have enjoyed learning about Great Hearts Online, you're curious about it, what are the next steps that parents should take so that they can, get involved in this, get their children enrolled for Great Hearts Online?
Yeah, thank you, Inga. So we are accepting applications right now. Go ahead and enroll, online.greatheartsamerica.org, or you can type in greatheartsonline.org. Both will come up and go to our website. Go to the website, you can read more information on there, and you can enroll right now. We will be doing our lottery, I believe it's next Tuesday, our first round lottery. We will be accepting applications until the first day of school. So in some cases, some sections, some grade levels might fill up, some seats might still be available. Please go ahead and apply now, apply soon. If you want to learn more about Great Hearts Online, or you want to see Heidi and myself and others just talking away and sharing more about the things we're really excited about for your kids and to do in partnership with you, go to our website, or our Facebook website, Great Hearts Online. We've been doing a lot of Facebook Live sessions. We won't this coming Wednesday because it is Veterans Day, but we have the past few weeks. We brought in all of our other members of the leadership team, which has been, we get off of those and think like, that was a lot of fun. And people watched us talking and having fun about the things we're excited about for 30 minutes. And so that seems a little silly, but it does demonstrate the genuine enthusiasm and commitment and passion and expertise the team is bringing to create a truly exemplary online Great Hearts learning experience for your children. So go online, greatheartsonline.org, enroll now. Go ahead and watch some of our Facebook info sessions, search on Facebook for Great Hearts Online, or reach out to us at info@greatheartsonline.org. We are now actively responding to those emails daily.
Okay, good deal. Okay. Well, that, and I'll plug, yeah, in the description of the video, there's the guide on the SA Turn Moms website, and that's got links to, right to the Facebook page and to, all that, where you can find more resources. And we try to, anticipate some of the questions that people will have, but we've covered a lot in this session here. A lot of new information. It's a lot of stuff that was still on the drawing board the last time that Kurtis and I talked. Okay, so I want to give Heidi kind of the last word. Just sort of, what are you most excited about Great Hearts Online? I know you've talked about like the teachers that you're hiring and the kind of change in creativity that's going on. It's really exciting for me to have like to be a spectator at this. So, but what are you most excited about?
I think the thing that brings me the most excitement is the fact that we could have students from all over Texas all connected together, and all of a sudden this place that we live seems so much larger. And I think that that's really a beautiful thing to learn and to know deep down, especially as a younger person, to think, well, I have a friend that lives all the way over there, and we still have this great community and common ground, and we're in great discussions. And I just think there's something really beautiful in that. So I'm looking forward to meeting the new scholars that are joining us. And I'm looking forward to really translating this, taking what we do and seeing it in a new way, seeing it in this way that we're this online thing. The creativity, my brain's exploding. Every time I work with Jay, I think, oh my goodness, we could do a million things. And so finding that's been really stimulating for me. But I'm most excited about seeing these kids engage in this really beautiful curriculum. So
yeah. Okay, well, this has been wonderful. I've learned new stuff today, even after updating the blog post, and I'm super excited about it. And I hope I'll keep checking in with you guys, and we'll keep getting the word out. But I'm really excited for January 4th when the scholars get to come online, and this new community will emerge.
Yeah, we are too.
So,
thank you, Inga.
Thank you, Inga. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, you too. Okay, bye.
Bye.